what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So more UFC content. We have some big news recently. It just came out yesterday. The UFC and WWE are merging. Essentially, it's complete now. The merger is combined with TKO Holdings. It's essentially a new company that is going to be overseeing or kind of like the parent company of UFC and WWE. So this is some big news. What does this really mean? I think the main part of this merger is not only to essentially dominate the market of like entertainment, because at the end of the day, UFC and WWE are entertainment companies that are essentially the biggest. They have the biggest fan bases in terms of entertainment. They're the two top when it comes to wrestling and also MMA. No one can compete with UFC. No one can compete with WWE. I know you guys would say like AEW with WWE or maybe Bellator with UFC. No, these are the top two companies. They've been around for the longest, and there's a reason why. So to essentially get into the details of what happened, essentially in terms of WWE, there were some big issues with Vince McMahon. There were some scandals that came out. Essentially dropped down. His daughter, Stephanie McMahon, as well as Hunter Helmsley, decided to take on as, kind of the top people in that company. With all of that going on, WWE was kind of speculated to either end up selling the company or end up moving or joining another company. So that's kind of the background in terms of why the WWE decided to do that. So essentially, the whole idea was to have WWE being taken over by another company, but they decided to reach out to, obviously, Dana White with the UFC, and honestly just dominate this entire market. So if you guys are unsure, Endeavor is essentially the parent company of UFC, but now TKO Holdings is going to be like the parent company. I know it's very confusing. But essentially, we're going to go into the details here. So UFC and WWE pretty much are now a percentage of this major company. So Endeavor will own 51% of the new company, TKO Holdings. WWE shareholders will own the remaining 49%. Vince McMahon owns 34% of the new company. So obviously, this guy still has a lot of power when it comes to this. So honestly, what does this like really mean in terms of what's going on? I think for the most part, it's obviously money. It's to make sure that these two companies last for a very long time. Obviously, the more money that is coming in, the more venues they can do, that whole kind of thing. So I think this is a great step in terms of that. What this also means is when it comes to partnership deals with the UFC, WWE, I would be very curious to see how the fan bases not only switch over, but also people from UFC maybe could end up joining WWE. You don't know. I think it's just going to be an interesting partnership. I know typically there's always issues with people going from one company to another if they're not like associated with each other. So this is going to be really interesting. Now, I know the UFC fan base and WWE fan base are very different, right? You have MMA that is a very real fighting, right? Like people are actually getting knocked out. It's very serious, and there's so much hype to those fights. And then you have WWE that really is entertainment. These people are still putting their bodies on the line, regardless of what you say, if it's fake or not, but it is entertainment. People love watching both types of things. So I think this is going to be really interesting. I personally think that a lot of people that are UFC fans are going to have a very easy time watching WWE. I think it's just going to be a really cool concept to have both companies kind of merge together. But yeah, so it came out yesterday, very just kind of out of the blue, but I think this is a big thing for both companies, and we'll see what ends up happening in the future. I would love to see someone like Daniel Cormier go to WWE, challenge some people. It would be so cool to see like Conor McGregor going into WWE, right? There's so many ideas that we have. Israel Adesanya, like who knows? Like there's a bunch of different ideas with it. And even now Logan Paul, who's a part of UFC or who's a part of WWE, could end up fighting in a UFC fight. So much to happen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on this? Yeah, thank you guys for supporting the daily UFC content. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Bye.